The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And here it is. It's officially playoff week at the Star in Frisco. We are inside the SWBC podcast studio. Bill Jones along with Everson Walls. And Everson, you know where Mickey is?
Where's Mickey?
He is inside the SWC podcast playoff studio.
Oh, he's in the playoff studio. So we're just in the regular season
That's right.
studio.
We're in the regular season studio.
Right.
He is in the satellite center monitoring what is going on the practice field. Also in the Bay Area with the San Francisco 49ers. And now let's toss it to our chief meteorologist, Mickey Spagnola, in the playoff podcast studio for the latest update.
Go, Mick.
Hello, Mickey.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I think I'm in a secret location watching practice.
Yeah, I saw him outside, man. It looked good out there. I saw the guys out there practicing today. What's it look like?
And the way Mickey is looking down.
Yeah, but they moved in.
The way Mickey is looking down at his computer screen, it looks like he's looking down on the practice field.
Yes. like a drone.
Yeah, they would probably shoot me if I was, because that's why they moved indoors. Mike McCarthy talked about how they were going to have the first part of practice outdoors, and then they were going to move inside because they're playing indoors. I don't think so. I think he didn't want a lot of eyes on practice.
Yeah, but Mickey, the media is not allowed at practice. I mean, what difference would it make?
I think Dr. Pepper and Keurig got a lot of windows next door.
All right. And as you can tell, Mickey, we're working with a little bit of a delay getting all the way to that playoff podcast satellite center. And so we'll work through that here. But, hey, it's time to get started. On my drive-in, Everson, I was listening to KNBR in San Francisco. Greg Papa, who does play-by-play, has a radio show out there. So I am briefed up on exactly what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers. And let me tell you, Mickey, the 49ers believe they are coming in here and they are not only winning this game at 3:30 on Saturday, but they are running the table.
What? They're going all the way?
That's what they're talking like.
Okay. They're shades of Eli Manning. Is that what you're saying?
It's a pretty confident area. I was reading the newspapers, San Francisco and Oakland, and San Jose, by the way, the Mercury News. And you guys, I think, will love this little tidbit. They had a guy analyzing the Cowboys, and he must have been on that website that does all the analytical stuff. I can't remember what the call letters are for it, but anyway, how about this? So this guy was examining the Cowboys secondary, and he said maybe Shanahan will move his attention outside and try to give Dallas cornerback Trayvon Diggs something to think about. The second-year Alabama player led the NFL in interceptions this past season with 11. But when he didn't make the interceptions, he was downright bad corner. Diggs is worthless against the run. The Niners always want to run it outside the numbers, but in this game, they'll be even more eager. He'll also give up what he takes away, though I'm not sure he wins that battle. Turnovers are the lifeblood of wins in football. Big Diggs' risk-reward style is something I could imagine the Niners offense are targeting with their excellent receivers. I think it could be a winning strategy. Coaches leading teams into the playoffs didn't coach the season opener. Oh, never mind. That was the end of it. That was another note I had. So this guy doesn't think much of Trayvon Diggs, right?
I've heard a lot of that from certain, I call them ne'er-do-wells. These are the people that continue to talk about what Diggs does not do. And look, he's a second-year player, Spags, and I'm not expecting him to be this, perfect player. First of all, if you're going to try and make interceptions, you're going to get beat. If you're going to sit back and just, let guys catch stuff in front of you, like our previous defensive backfield, or catch and release that I called it, that just gets on my nerves because it does nothing. You don't do anything. You just sit back, you let them catch the ball, you play it safe. I really don't like playing it safe. I don't think our defense, especially our secondary, can afford to play it safe. I think we need to get turnovers whenever we can. I think aggression is the best way to go for any defensive back. And if you get beat a couple of times, then that's just the way it goes. But I promise you, anytime Diggs gets an interception, it lights a fire under this team. And that's just something that you can't analytically just ignore.
So it's like risk versus reward.
You doggone right it is.
Yeah,
You doggone right it is, Bill.
And again, guys are just looking at numbers. I bet this guy hasn't watched Trayvon Diggs play a game, like a whole game, right? And to just say he's downright bad, it's like, okay, Mr. Expert, let's see.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a hyperbole, and they're trying to geek up their guys on the West Coast end. And I do get that. You will have opportunities against Trey Diggs, but you will also get shut down against Trey Diggs. I have seen him, and we've all seen it, to where not only does he make interceptions, he has a great number of pass breakups as well. So it's not just about interceptions. It's about getting his hand on the ball and making plays against the wide receiver. To me, I think more times than not.
And we've seen a lot where opposing quarterbacks will throw at Trayvon, and the reaction from the Cowboys defense after he gets a pick is, we can't believe that he threw at him.
How stupid were you? Yeah. And so, you can pick your poison as far as I'm concerned. You can pick your poison, Spags, as far as I'm concerned, because I was a victim of that my rookie year especially. But once you start learning, okay, and I think even after halfway through our rookie year, and I'm speaking of myself and Michael Downs and all those DBs, the big plays that we gave up in 1981, they diminished greatly during the second half of that season and into the playoffs, okay? So when you start looking at that, I believe Diggs in this secondary, I think they're getting better, and I think they've given a fewer big plays in the games that they've won. And so I think that pattern is going to continue.
All right, Mickey, bring us up to speed on.
And the other thing, Bill. The other thing, Bill, I was just going to say on that. I'm sorry we got a little bit of a delay, but there's this perception that the reason he's got all these interceptions is that he gambles. And if you look at his interceptions, a lot of them, and Everson talked about it, like the one that tied his record, he wasn't gambling. He was just covering the guy, and he went up and caught the ball. That was a 50-50 ball. It's like he was trailing underneath. That's not gambling. That's covering the receiver. And I think that's the misconception about him. Like when he gets beat, that means he's gambling. But when he gets an interception, that means he gambled and won. And I just don't think that's accurate.
All right, Mickey, bring us up to speed on what else is going on here on this Wednesday.
Well, the Cowboys, like I said, they started. This was their first practice getting ready for San Francisco. They were outside, then they went inside, and it looks like only two guys were missing from practice. Jaron Kearse still hasn't been out of the COVID protocol. They expect him back tomorrow. And then the only other player that wasn't at practice was Nashawn Wright. And we'll see when the injury report comes out, just exactly why he's not there. But all the other guys that were on COVID were at practice. And really, the guys that had injuries, this is probably the healthiest the Cowboys have been in quite some time. And I'm sure they're knocking on wood right now because, when somebody asked me today on the radio about COVID, are they in the clear? I said, today they are. But you never know what tomorrow brings.
Tell me about it.
And I've listened to San Francisco radio. Apparently, the 49ers are as healthy as they've been in a long time, too. It's such a long season, and the longest season ever. And with the the tools that teams have in place in order to put a player on injured reserve and bring them back now because of the pandemic here the last couple of years. I think it's been from a strategic standpoint and preparing a playoff team and getting your guys ready when they need to be ready in January. It's been a good thing in the NFL that they've got this 3-week IR where guys can get healthy again. And I think you're going to see good football being played here in the playoffs because teams are healthier than what they normally are come playoff time.
Although I did see, I'm trying to remember which team it was. They needed help at safety, and they signed a safety that was already retired. They got him out of Weddle.
Eric Weddle.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember who did it, but they
What happened?
I guess I'll have to Google Eric Weddle and find out the rest of the story here, Everson.
Well, no, I'll find it here.
Rams. The Rams are signing Eric Weddle.
The Rams did. That's right. Yeah.
What was he with the Chargers at one point?
I get those two LA teams mixed up.
Yeah. Well, he was with the San Diego Chargers.
Well, he was with the Chargers for years, and then he was with the Ravens.
Exactly.
And then he was with the Rams, wasn't he, at the end?
I don't
and
remember
then he
with
retired.
The Rams.
So, what a great player Eric Weddle has been in his career. And so that's interesting. He announced his retirement February of 2020, so he missed the entire 2020 season and obviously been out this year. And he's signing with the Rams. And he started for the Rams his final year, which would have been the 2019 season.
Okay.
So, I mean, but you talk about.
So is he coming back? Is he going to be a starter? Is he replacing the starter?
Let's see.
Because that's going to be
short-handed.
Look at it this way.
Short-handed.
They're shorthanded at safety and cornerback.
And Jordan Fuller out.
Taylor Rapp, who got an interception this last game, entered concussion protocol. Fuller suffered an ankle injury, and it's going to require season-ending surgery. Wow. They also have cornerback Darius Williams suffered a shoulder injury in the game. So, they've got a bunch of injuries in the secondary.
Boy, that was an emotional game and obviously very, very physical as well. Boy, them losing that game, I don't know how they're going to go into this next game, Spags, against the Cardinals, because that, you just look at that game, man, and giving it up like you did. To me, that doesn't bode well, I don't think, for Matt Stafford's confidence.
Let me ask you, Everson, okay, 2 years after you retired, let's say, well, in fact, you retired what year? What was your last year?
1993.
1993. Let's say in 1995. Because Jimmy wasn't here anymore. Okay.
No.
Barry was here.
It'd be safe to come
back. Let's say in 1995, the Cowboys had a need for a safety as they entered the playoffs.
Yeah.
Could you? Yeah. Did you keep yourself in good enough shape?
I did.
Where you could have come and contributed in the playoff?
I very well could have. 2 years. I'd say up to 3 to 4 years after. In my mind, I felt that I was still in shape to play. I don't know what would have happened if I would have gotten out there. I always tell people, to this day, you can put me in on third down. I'm sure on third, like third and, let's say third and 15 plus.
So to heck with 1995, if the Cowboys had a need
right now. Me and T.O. ready to come back, baby. That's right. I could get on third and 15 plus. I'm sure I could play free safety back there and make it. I could make it to a flag route. I could actually cover a flag route if you just have him put a little air under it.
Could you have done in the Super Bowl that year against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Could you have done what Larry Brown did at cornerback?
Oh, I could do that now. I could do what Larry Brown did. I mean, he had a great game, MVP, but let's face it, the plays that he made, that was the least amount of effort he had to spend, right, in making a play.
So you're saying Mickey could have done that?
Mickey could have done that. That's exactly what I was saying. Anyone could have done that.
I could have caught that ball. Absolutely, I could have caught it.
I would have run just as far as he did, too. Yeah, I think I could have done that. I think I could have.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of Mick Shots, and we'll be back in a moment.
Hey, Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
How great would it be to travel to watch the Cowboys win on another team's turf? Pretty great. But honestly, just watching the game from anywhere but your house would be fun. Even a hotel bar with some guy named Phil from St. Louis who thinks Oakland still has a team. So whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com. Proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call. And teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
Be the first to receive new offers, event info, and more when you sign up to receive text messages from the team. Text Cowboys to NFL DAL, that's 635-325, to receive 10% off your next Pro Shop order. Message frequency may vary. Messages and data rates may apply.
All right, Mickey, there is a reason that Everson Walls has donned a gold shirt here in the SWBC podcast studio today. Everson, would you like to explain why you're decked out in gold? Because it's ordinarily, when you're playing San Francisco, you wouldn't have gold on with the gold rush coming to town on Saturday. But you've got a good reason to be playing gold, wearing gold today.
And speaking of gold, but just a little bit off the track, I just heard a bad story about the 49ers. I mean, the original 49ers scared the heck out of me as a black man. But anyway, I am here to talk about the celebration that was just given by the city of Dallas for Dallas South Oak Cliff High School, and we just congratulated them and had a ceremony celebrating their UIL state championship for 2021. Who did they beat in that game? Was it Liberty Hill?
Yep. Yeah,
Liberty Hill. They ended up winning that game. The entire season was extremely emotional. I think their biggest win that year was against Aledo.
Yes.
In that playoff game.
Yep.
He talked about, Coach Jason Todd talked about the ball usually bounce away from Sock. Mm-hmm. He said this year the ball bounced their way, and the Aledo game was something that he brought up. So I didn't really see that game, but obviously they got maybe a lucky bounce or finally got a break after 50-plus years of not going to the championship. So first UIL championship since 1958 for any Dallas high school to win the state championship. And the people that were there to cheer them on and to be part of the celebration was Charles Haley was one of them. He got up and spoke, and of course that was very adventurous when anytime Charles gets up and says something, because you never know what the heck he's going to say. And also Russell Maryland was there. They both gave words of encouragement. Charles, by the way, was very emotional and inspiring speech about how he came up and how hard he had to work. He was reading 3 grades behind. Even went to school. Still got his got his graduation degree, his bachelor's from James Madison. And, of course, Russell Maryland got up there and just talked about, being a champion. And, of course, he had 2 championships with Miami and 3 with the Cowboys. And I got up there with my 1 Super Bowl win, my only championship of my entire life. But this is what they gave us. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, this is what they gave us just for participating, congratulating them on being champions for the first Dallas team since 1958 to win that. So very cool. The mayor was there. Mayor Johnson was there. Councilwoman Arnold, she's just an amazing young lady. And so we just had a lot of people there celebrating the moment. They're going to have a parade, another parade, going through the city of Dallas. They also, I believe they're going to have a street. We had the plaque, the name of the street, and we were taking pictures with it, South Oak Cliff Lane or whatever it was. So they're going to name a street somewhere out there in Oak Cliff. It's going to be named after that high school. And they're going to have a South Oak Cliff Day on the 22nd of January, if I'm not mistaken.
So that'd be probably a week from Saturday.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, and I won't even be in town for that, by the way. But I remember as Russell got up and talked about the parade, he had to bring up the infamous Dallas Cowboys parade celebration. So everybody was like, "Hey, we got to keep that down." Don't kids, when you Google that, this is not what we expect from you as we celebrate.
This was before your parents were born, but we had a parade here once. It didn't go so well.
Didn't go so well at all. I believe the quote unquote was burning cars. I believe is what Russell Maryland said, burning cars. So we don't want that. But no, it was a great event. It really was. And I was able to get up and introduce Coach Todd, who went to Texas Southern, by the way. So he's a SWAC man. And, he's a legacy guy. He's been all through the Dallas school system. He actually went to South Oak Cliff, and he went to, I think he got his master's at Texas A&M Commerce.
Okay.
So, he's an HBCU grad. And, man, he's just one of those guys that just stuck in there. And let's be real. Because of the pandemic, a lot of DISD schools were finally getting some of the financial aid that they've, not just necessarily aid, but just necessary resources
to shore up the facilities.
The schools and everything, not just at South Oak Cliff, but you just talked about Ira Turrell having his name on the new Roosevelt Gym. None of that would have happened without the influx of funds that came through because of the pandemic. So thank God for that. And that made South Oak Cliff has said that it was because of that infusion of resources and money that they were able to finally compete with the rest of the state. So now no more taking buses to go practice somewhere where you don't, it's not your field. You can practice at your own field. You had your own building to study in. So those kind of things that they had to go through this entire season, it wasn't really talked about much, but it was the things that they had to overcome on the way to winning this championship.
The Golden Bears of South Oak Cliff.
Golden Bears. There you go.
By the way, that Alito team, they've won like 8 state championships.
Yes.
So that was a huge hurdle to get past.
Thank you, Bill.
So that's great. And Mickey, the Cowboys had the South Oak Cliff football team out for the last home regular season game.
Did they?
Against Washington.
I did not know that.
I don't know if it was the whole team, but there was a whole bunch of them that were at the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Cowboys are hoping that for this game on Sunday, their fans show up and don't sell tickets, by the way, after we saw what took place. Just kind of took over the stadium.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We caught some of that. We caught that. Yeah, we caught some of it.
As a matter of fact, I saw something from Matthew Stafford. He said it was a tough environment for us to communicate in, and that means in his own stadium. And some of the people said that they had to go silent count because it was so loud.
Isn't that crazy, Bill? I mean, this your home stadium. The Cowboys have had it bad. Mm-hmm. People love to come visit. That's what happens when you got no beautiful stadium. That's what SoFi had to get used to. You got this beautiful stadium. People say, you know what? I'm not going to buy my husband a watch. We're going to go to an experience. And sometimes these great arenas a part of that experience. And you get these fans coming in here, they don't like the Cowboys, and they cheer real loud. Mm-hmm. And when I heard the 49er fans at SoFi, I called my buddy. I'm like, where are they playing? It was crazy. I mean, it was when the comeback was happening in the second half, it was as if they were spurred on by the SoFi crowd, which is very unusual.
And, of course, L.A. is such a melting pot city.
Yes.
That and the Rams having not played there for a long period of time, that it's easy for 49er fans to get tickets there.
It sure was.
Hey,
obviously.
Mickey, so Jerry's hoping to get 100,000 at the game Sunday?
That's what he said. He would like to see that, and I bet they will, sell more of the standing room only tickets. You guys probably aren't there when they open the gates, but it is the funniest thing you've ever seen when they let the standing room people in, and there's a rush to get to the best standing spot possible, right? And the game against. Which game was it? It wasn't the last home game. It was the one before that. I saw some lady come running through there, and she face planted, just went down.
That was the Washington game, right?
Everybody's rushing to get to the edge, right, so they can stand there and see. And I would imagine they're going to pack those in pretty good. I already have people calling about standing room only tickets. I just got off the call with a guy. He wanted to know if he can get 3 standing room only tickets. I said, good luck, brother. Good luck.
Can you help a guy out,
People will do it just to say they were there. Do what now?
Can you help a brother out?
Yeah.
You got connections, don't you, Mickey?
Oh, yes. I've got big connections. Yeah.
All right.
But they're going to have to show their vaccination card and that they're a Cowboys fan.
You doggone right, Spags. I like that. I like that.
Go. All right, Mickey, let's how about we make this last segment a longer segment and tell us what we need to talk about in this next segment. What would you like to hit on in this next segment?
Well, I think interesting thing Mike McCarthy said today, because everybody's talking about the 49ers' ability to run the football and how they do it out of different personnel sets. Doesn't matter how many running backs or how many wide receivers, they still run the football. And he had an interesting comment about the Cowboys' defensive tackle rotation. And I think I figured out also why Antonio Brown was doing jumping jacks without his shirt on in the end zone.
All right, that when Mick Shots continues in a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting Cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/Cowboys.
Back to Mick Shots.
Cowboys Nation, head to the Pro Shop to step your game up for the playoffs. We have white hot gear for our white out home crowd. Score classics like jersey, tees, and hats, plus exclusive collections and unique accessories when you visit your local Dallas Cowboy Pro Shop or log on to shop.dallascowboys.com. It's a fanatics experience.
Nice.
All right, very good. One thing that before we get into what Mickey teased, was after the show yesterday. Joe Judge let go by the Giants.
Gee, what a surprise! What a surprise! I'm surprised it took so long. That was a slow burn. They just should have gotten rid of him with Jason Garrett. That's just a slow burn. We knew it was coming.
But they were making noise like they were going to keep him, and and Gallimore was quote unquote retiring, but they went ahead. Ownership met with Joe Judge on Monday, and they called him Tuesday morning and said, "Okay, you're gone." Mickey, after watching that play, that quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from their own 4-yard line, I don't know how you could possibly keep a head coach. He had to be making some sort of statement that he wanted out of there anyway. When you're approving the offense running that play.
So we were right back when we said they just basically sacrificed Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator when they let him go, right? Because he was trying to save his own ass, and it didn't quite work, did it?
Yep. And so it worked out well for Jason. I can't remember the timing of it. 1st of December, whatever. He got the holidays off, and so didn't have to
shopping to do.
Didn't have to endure the last 5 weeks of that meltdown. All right, Mickey. What about Coach McCarthy and what he talked about with the defensive tackle rotation?
Yeah, because we know that the 49ers like to run the football. They've been very good at it this year. As a matter of fact, I was going to look it up and let you know, but I didn't want to do it from memory. But from an offensive standpoint, San Francisco ended up the seventh ranked rushing team, and they like to do it with 2 running backs, 1 running back, 2 fullbacks. Heck, they'll do it out of 3 wide receivers and hand the ball to Deebo Samuel. So he was asked about the defensive tackle rotation, and he said that was one of the reasons in this last game that they played Neville Gallimore a little bit more than maybe the other starters, because they wanted to make sure he was in rhythm to play more snaps. When they first brought him back after missing all of the season until the last month, they were regulating his snaps.
But he still almost killed somebody doing that process.
We got
2 people, as a matter of fact. He almost killed 2 people doing that process. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and that was early in the process, right? And he said basically his.
Whoops. We lost him.
Come on.
Awfully well.
There you go. That's all I need.
Something happened awfully well.
Snap your fingers. Just snap your fingers.
Yeah. Neville, when he came, I think that was his first game back.
That was his first game back
against Washington,
yes, it was.
when 2 people almost died.
Yeah.
I think Everson.
It was the center and the quarterback.
And the quarterback, right?
That's right. He seemed to be in a pretty good rhythm then.
He really did. When your name becomes a verb, that says something about how devastating you are. So
he got, what is it? He got Neville.
He got Gallimore. He got Gallimore. Yeah,
you can do it with either word. He got Neville, or he got
Neville.
Gallimore.
Man, that's a good one too. He got Neville.
But Mickey, seriously, this Niners run game is a concern for this defense, especially even you look back to last week against the Eagles, and there were some guys missing on the Cowboys side of things, including Micah Parsons, but that's the bread and butter for the 49ers. Establish that run game. They want to carry the ball 40 times in this game.
Oh, no, absolutely. And you know what? And Mike emphasized, though, that they would like to be able to carry the ball 30 times. Mm-hmm. He figures if they can run it that much, then their offense is functioning just the way he would like it to be. So, yeah, it's almost like both teams have this idea of exactly what they want to do. And, and one of the things that I've looked at with this Cowboy defense, and I don't know if this is going to shock you or not, but over the course of the season, the Cowboys defense faced 1,082 plays from scrimmage and gave up 5,967 yards. But of those 5,967 yards, 2,334 occurred on just 60%.
Is that we're going to say 60% of the plays?
He'll be back here in a second.
And come on 76 plays.
Hey, run that by me one more time, Spags.
What's happened with this Cowboy defense
we need to hear
basically the big plays.
We need to hear
that one more time.
Yeah.
You kind of went out on us. It was very important. You went out just at the wrong time. Just one more time, please.
You know what we need? To cut a hole in the wall here, and I could shout it to you better than the reception is, right?
That's very true, Spags. That's so true.
But no.
Where did I leave
something
off?
You whatever
you
your
said
number
60 something.
You gave the 1,000
out of those yards.
1,000 snaps, 5,000 yards, and then it was 60 throws.
Okay. All right. So what I was trying to point out is one of the problems the Cowboys defense have had is giving up big plays.
I figured that.
Big pass and run plays, right?
Yeah.
And so 76 plays of 20 yards or more accounted for 2,334 yards for opponents. They were averaging on those 76 plays 30 yards a play. So 40% of the yards the Cowboys gave up came on big plays. So that's one of the things, and it's been run plays too. And so that's one of the things that they've got to make sure they cut down on. Now, in this game, it's going to help that Parsons is back. They need Van Der Esch to play like what was he, the wolf howler or whatever it was.
I'll take how he played last week. He was pretty decent last week and how he was around the ball all the time, and he really seemed to have, I guess, with Parsons out, he seemed to try to take that role. Obviously not as good as Parsons, but he was definitely around the ball a lot more this past game than in recent games.
No, absolutely. And they're going to need that. They need some head knocking up there, not only the defensive front, the defensive tackles, but those linebackers too.
Hey, let me say something also about San Francisco's offense. And, when you start looking at that team, I don't know if we talked about much of it yesterday. I can't recall. But, they have a lot of jet motion going and having Debo in the backfield that can be extremely deceptive on run and play action, Spags. And that's something that's making me real nervous because if we're not able to handle that run, then we're going to be sliced and diced down the field with the play action because a lot of those receivers are running routes off of this jet motion. And it's hard for a defensive back to get in position to cover big plays when you're on the move. That's something I had to kind of, get accustomed to. And when I came to the pros, is covering wide receivers while in motion. And they don't just run theirs in motion. They're jet sweeps. The jet motion itself can cause bunch situations. When the three wide receivers are together, he can motion away from bunch, a motion towards bunch. Those kind of things are by design because they want to make sure that you're as confused as possible and confused on the run. So those are things that I'm sure that they're practicing their butts off in regards to trying to handle that, because not only can it put you out of position physically, but mentally it can confuse you and have you playing the wrong position as well as the wrong assignment.
So recognition and having studied is going to be very important for this defense. Big time.
And it's a young defense too, Spag. So these young guys, they have to understand just how important that is and how different that is from any team that they played, because that is Shanahan's style.
Everson, did you hear?
So they should put a sign out. They need to put a sign out, no hunting sacks.
Ah, interesting.
Everson, did you hear who the offensive player of the week is in the NFC?
I did hear that on the way in, sir. I did. I believe his name was
some guy in a slump.
DP, are you with me? That's it.
5 touchdown passes will get it done, whether you're playing against the JV or not, right, Mickey?
It don't matter.
Yeah, absolutely, and well deserved, and shows that, you know what, he can see the field, by the way, if he has time to look.
Yeah, I would say he had plenty of time in that game. And let's be real, some of those throws that he made, we talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers, and we got some great quarterbacks in this league. There's no doubt about it. And they get a lot of props for dropping dimes. They always talk about dropping dimes. I have seen Dak under pressure while rolling out of the pocket. I mean, sometimes he's like one step away from being out of bounds, and yet he can still find someone like a Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper who's also doing the toe drag swag, sometimes just to save a sack. And sometimes he'll salvage a play, and it's 12 yards on the sideline. I recall when Lyle Collins got in trouble for the fight. He and Zeke got in trouble for the fight. I can't remember the game. But on that particular play, Dak Prescott, I don't know how he got that ball into Michael Gallup. It was a completed pass. No one talked about how good the pass was because the idiocy came after that. Mm-hmm. And so it clearly overshadowed what Dak Prescott has been doing all year long in regards to finding his receivers in some seriously tough situations.
Mickey, have anything to add to that?
He's talking, but you can't hear him. He's talking, but you can't. He's frozen.
He's froze up again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got 2 minutes left on this edition of Mick Shots. We'll work out our kinks in the playoff satellite center.
That's all right. We can go on without him. We don't need him. It's just it's just Mick Shots. That's just on the board.
You talked about Charles Haley earlier.
Charles Haley, yes.
We ran a.
I could see I'm unfrozen now.
There you are.
Wow.
There you are. I was going to mention that Everson talked about Charles Haley being at this event today. We had Charles on CBS 11 last night. Keith Russell did a Zoom interview with Charles and Ronnie Lott talking
live.
It was a Zoom interview, so I mean it was live.
So
they were on
together.
Where'd you see
that? Where'd you see
at
that?
the same time?
Where'd you see that?
Well, it was on. We ran it on CBS 11 last night. They taped it at 7:00 last night.
Because when he came up, we parked next to each other at the event.
Okay.
We were talking about the at City Hall Plaza. So we parked next to each other. I was walking, and then he comes pulls in. He's got this big old truck. I'm like, what are you doing with this big truck? The wheels are taller than me. And so he gets out. He goes, hey, man, Ronnie Lott was really giving you some props last night. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know what the heck he was talking about. I talked to Ronnie. He didn't give me the whole thing. I didn't know it was a Zoom interview.
Yeah.
I thought they were just on the phone talking. But he said Ronnie was I guess off camera, he was very complimentary of me. And Charles never comes to me with good news like that. So it was very, very unusual.
Here's one thing.
I appreciate it.
One thing that Ronnie Lott said. He said that when the Cowboys played the 49ers, and I guess it was in the 80s, whatever year.
Yes,
I don't know.
80s.
I don't know if it was the 82 game or not, but before the game, that Ronnie Lott went past midfield. Okay, he's on the the teams are warming up on both ends of the field, and he said that he walked on the Cowboys side of the field, side of the 50-yard line. And Randy White came up to him and said, "You get your butt on the other side of the field." And Ronnie said, "Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir. We'll deal with you later. Yeah, yes, sir. We can't deal with you right now.
I'm not sure if that was the championship, the conference championship game, or another meeting, but
it could have been. Yeah, maybe in '85 we played them as well. But yeah. I would imagine it was more intense in '82 than it was in '85.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but you talk about a guy that even in retirement, 30 years later or whatever, Ronnie Lott has that certain aura about him.
Yeah,
he
does. Well, that's my classmate, man. The class of '81, we were full of guys like that. Yes, sir.
That's right.
I consider myself that class, even though I wasn't drafted. But that once again, they said that the defensive class of 1981 was considered probably the best defensive class in the history of the NFL draft. So I would add Michael Downs and Everson Walls to that myself, and we would only make that class better. So I take much pride in that, even though we weren't.
All right, well, that might be my research project for
that
tomorrow.
Solidifies the statement.
There you go. Thank you.
That's right. All right, Mickey, we're going to work out.
Hey, before we go, one last thing I'm going to give you, okay?
All right, this is what we call a Mick
last shot. Mick buzzer shot. This is a Mick buzzer shot. Well, we can ran it as well, yeah.
So I ran into this because someone was going through guys that missed incentives by a narrow amount. And this paragraph stood out to me. Free agent wide receiver Antonio Brown missed out on nearly $1 million in incentives for failing to reach 50 catches, 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Each of those markers would have earned him $333,330. He finished the season with 42 catches, 545 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So when he was mad on the sideline, he was mad because he wasn't getting targeted enough so he can get his $1 million incentive.
But if you let him tell it, he said it was because he was injured and did not want to go in.
Yeah, right.
That's what he said.
He was mentally injured because he was losing money.
And then couple that with the video that went viral this week of Gronk getting his incentive.
He got his incentive. We want to make sure he got his incentive.
You saw the video of that,
I did, yeah.
He went to Brady and said, "Hey, I need one more. And everybody in the stadium knew it. The announcers knew it. Everybody.
I am not mad at him.
So
that's kind of contradictory to what Brown is saying.
Yeah, he blamed it on an injury. He blamed it on his pocketbook. I'll guarantee you that was the reason.
His pockets are
and let me give
right
you
now.
one. Yeah, and let me give you one more who was glued to that to those final games in the playoffs. One, Malcolm Jenkins had a $500,000 bonus from the Saints if they made the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
So he was cheering for the tie.
Yes.
The tie. The tie.
The
tie wouldn't have
Well, it was just there was the
Niners.
Niners. If the Niners don't beat the Rams, then the Saints
If the Niners lost, yeah.
That's right. So it's simple
imagine
as that.
if you were sitting with him watching that game when it went into overtime.
Oh man.
Oh God. Oh man, pressure.
Yeah, his poor wife.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm losing my voice. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Mick Shots.
I'm good.
All right, go Cowboys. Bill, you can't say that right now, can you?
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?